Welcome back, citizens, to an all-new episode of the Bat Cave podcast. It's your old bat chum, John S. Drew here. And here we go. We are now at about the halfway point for the 1943 Batman serials. And joining us here, as he's been since the beginning, and as we continue on into the second half, is the man himself, the publisher, the editor, the creator of Gotham City 14 Miles, Mr. Jim Beard. Hey, Jim.
Hey, I haven't bailed on you yet.
You haven't bailed on me yet, even though you have issues with this. And I agree with a lot of your issues. But at the same time, I think we're both having fun watching this.
Oh yeah. It is definitely a time capsule, of an era. and that really feeds into the enjoyment, if you want to call it that, of watching these.
Right. Exactly. Now, as I said, episode 7, this is called The Phoney Doctor. And I thought it was interesting because phony is spelt E-Y.
Yeah. And you know what? I'm glad it's the first note that I have here of that. You know what's really funny about that is phony is the traditional UK spelling.
Right.
Yeah, in North America, United States, or whatever, it's always just NY, and so I when I'm like looking this up, I'm like, oh, it's just one of those archaic spellings, and it's like, no, it's actually that's the UK spelling, and in some other countries, but not in the United States. And as far as I know, this production is entirely in the United States. So why they have that UK spelling? Unless in 1943 that was floating around as an alternate, spelling in the United States. Although I haven't seen anything like that.
Yeah, that's what I was wondering, if maybe it was an alternate or maybe we were transitioning.
It could be. I'm a big Pulp Fiction reader, and when you're reading a Doc Savage novel, a Shadow novel, all these different ones from the 30s into the 40s, you get a lot of alternate spellings. And again, what I'm calling archaic spellings, like the word clue, C-L-U-E, is almost always C-L-E-W. And different things like that. Or they have a hyphen in a word, like tonight is T-O-N-I-G-H-T, or tomorrow, or different things like that. So that's what I was thinking it is. I don't know. I'd like to get a hold of whoever did the script or titles or whatever for this and ask them why, I don't know. It's not a British person writing this, is it? Okay, well, then I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know.
Sounds pretty phony to me. It's phony elitism.
There you go.
Yeah.
It's trying to elevate this to something more.
Thank you. You beat me to it. Yeah, anything they can do to try to elevate this production.
Well, let's get into the discussion here of the episode itself. When we last left Batman and Robin,
Daka's hirelings seek to steal the map of a rich radium mine. But Batman, suspecting the plot, beats them to the punch.
they were in the middle of foiling this plot to rob a miner named Colton of his stake in this uranium mine he's found. They're at this warehouse because Colton has been led into a trap. They get into a fight. And once again, Jim, you're disappointed because Batman is overcome and left to die as the place is in flames and the roof caves. I mean, this one, I got to give him credit, though, for the death trap itself as it is, because he's knocked out, the place is on fire, and the roof caves in. And I'm like thinking to myself, this isn't one of these things where at the last moment we're going to see him roll away in the next episode. So I was like, okay, good setup here, but how do we finish it up? Batman is saved because the beams from the roof fall in such a way that it forms an arch.
Let's get out of here before that chemical reaches these wires.
You know what's interesting about that is you go, oh, well, boy, if it wasn't for luck, he'd be dead, right? He didn't do anything. But there's actually examples of that in our beloved Batman 66, and I'm thinking of in the feature film, you know, where the porpoise jumps in and saves them.
Rose! Oh, come here, I found it. Oh, stop.
Boy, are you lucky. These beams formed an arch and protected you.
You're indeed most fortunate, sir. You think that half a bit is better than none at all, Alfred? Oh! I forgot. We better phone Colton right away.
Yes, those men will probably try again.
There's different examples of that. I'm more concerned, again, with how easily Batman is beaten in here. Now, obviously, in Batman 66, they were overcome, our dynamic duo, and that's how they got put into death traps. But there's something about it that rankles me more in this one, that Bruce and Dick really need to take some, like, boxing lessons or something, because they're not doing that well. And you know what? I wrote another note that I wrote down here is it struck me more in this one than in all the other ones that we've gone over. Is the criminals in these chapters have no fear of Batman whatsoever. No. None. It's just another guy that they fight. And I'm gonna step back and say it's probably, again, because of two things. We're very early in the legend of the character of Batman, and also it's obviously this whole production is being put together by people who are not reading the comics.
Right. Yeah.
You know? And they are more concerned with, okay, Batman does have to be overcome because we need him to be put into this death trap, and that's all there is to that. But yeah, there's no apprehension, there's no, unwillingness to wade into a fight with Batman and Robin. It's just like, oh yeah, look, there's that guy, and we just start swinging fists, and we know we can beat him. I think that's what it is.
Well, that's because, when you compare it to the 66 series, a lot of times when the bat fight happens, it's not because of a confidence. There is some episodes, some things where it's like, well, there's 7 of us and 2 of you, and we got the odds and stuff. But there are a lot of times, like even the very first one, where Riddler is like,
"Get them, boys, get them, or it's curtains."
This is our last stance. It never feels like it's the last stance here. It's just take them down, boys.
Take them, exactly. It would be interesting to see a little bit of, striking fear into the hearts of criminals, that sort of thing. But or just, one, like Batman. Oh no, that sort of things. I don't know, maybe Batman hasn't been around for very long in this world, but again, it's just one of those little things, We're watching it in 2019, 2020, with all these decades of the character, right, where at that point kids had only known this character for a few years, and everybody else for that matter.
Yeah, that's true. So, they get away. Bruce then calls Colton to warn him that another attempt will be made to catch him and such. Colton prepares, and I thought this was weird. He arms himself, which that's fine. He's got his little trick gun that he can pull out. That was like that. We see that in a number of movies, especially the Westerns and such. But he then also sends away what I guess was a guard that had been there to protect him.
Yes, yeah. Hey, and at this moment, I want to say something about Colton. I'm kind of fascinated that he's become quite a prominent character in this.
Yep.
There's a lot of time devoted to him, into his personality, and I'm almost more interested in Colton than Batman. It's like I think he should have gotten a spin-off serial. The adventures of minor Colton, but he's become a very prominent figure in this little play.
Yeah, well, you could easily see a 15 chapter thing as we spin off there, and he's still keeping his mind protected and such, and there's all these attempts by maybe not the Japanese this time, maybe the Germans come in or something.
I think it'd be fascinating. Hey, and before I forget, one of my other notes here is that Robin needs to stop calling Batman Bruce.
Yeah,
like constantly Bruce. Yeah. Like I think, again, this is being put together by people who are just not comic book people. and the whole trope of secret identities. And when you're in costume, you don't, call each other. They totally corrected that in Batman 66. And we've talked about that many times. The producers and everybody of that show said Batman is a separate person from Bruce Wayne.
Mm-hmm.
They talk about each other as separate people. You don't call them. Dick does not say Bruce when he's in Batman costume, but they do that constantly in this production.
Yeah, no, right down to in the 66 show, we never see Batman take the cowl off in the Batcave.
No,
if you're in the Batcave, you're doing Batcave business, you're doing Batman business, you're Batman. And that's it.
Yeah, and it's funny because earlier, before we started recording, we were talking about the Batman 66 comic book, and that's one of the things that they do a lot in that is that they have Batman with his mask off.
Right. Yeah.
Which is wrong.
It's wrong. It's just simply wrong.
Yeah.
While on duty, we're Batman and Robin.
That's right.
I appreciated it. Then we come, and this is really interesting. We come to a meeting with Bruce and Dick, with Captain, I'm forgetting his last name now.
All I know is that he's not Gordon.
He's not Gordon, yeah.
It's too bad you didn't let us look into this instead of taking it on yourself to investigate.
We only went there on a hunch. I had no facts to give you.
Say, this looks like one of them.
Yeah, it does.
Ah, that's Sam Fletcher, a former civil engineer. He did a stretch in the state pen. They released him about a year ago. No record of him since. I'll have Fletcher picked up, and then when you meet him face to face, you can tell whether he was one of the men who attacked you.
No, thanks, Captain. Give me a ring anytime.
You bet. Send Everly in here, if he's awake.
Now, why didn't Bruce, up until this point, do this with all the other cases, moments, attempts at taking this? Why does he start coming to the captain now for help?
Yeah, good question. I don't have an answer to that other than just roll with it.
Yeah. But they do find one among the mugshots that look like one of the guys. So the captain's going to have him brought in. Then we come to again. Guards sent away, like you said, roll with it and everything. So Colton is surprised by this visit by a man named Dr. Franklin, who claims he was sent by Linda. And so Colton's like, okay, he wants to check him over and everything. And he's immediately overcome by the doctor's use of chloroform.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Yeah.
I swear, sometimes cliffhangers in general are Shakespearean in certain ways, because what a coincidence, as he's being taken out by the ambulance, Bruce and Dick arrive.
Fine thing. He's not here, and after promising to wait for us...
Maybe he couldn't keep that promise. Give me the desk, please. Hello, did Mr. Colton leave word where he was going when he went out? Do you know a hospital they took him to? All right, thank you. They took him to a hospital in an ambulance. The clerk didn't find out which hospital it was.
I guess we'd better call all the hospitals in town and try and find out.
You won't find him in any hospital. Do you smell that peculiar odor?
Yes, I do.
That means Colton was drugged so he could be carried out of here.
Here's something.
That's it, all right. And they used this to administer the drug.
But that's no clue. You can't get fingerprints off linen.
We may find some other marks that'll be of use. Let's get back to our lab.
This leads into something that I'm going to actually praise here. Is there's some detective work.
I have a note of that too. Absolutely. Good. He's being the detective finally.
Yeah. They smell the peculiar odor, and then suddenly the detective work kicks in, which is a plus as far as I'm concerned, because now we're, connecting back into the comics, that they're actually doing things that are above and beyond your normal average guy on the street.
Yeah, no, I agree. And they smell the chloroform. They find the hanky that the doctor used to, knock out Colton. It's got the smell of the chloroform, so they're going to bring it back to their lab. So again, it's no longer just here we are sitting around the lab looking busy for certain scenes, or that one scene where they're doing the secret ink from the government and stuff. Now we're using the lab to actually detect as part of this storyline.
Yeah, Yeah, yeah. Detection for crime fighting. Good job.
Right.
Thumbs up. I'm all for it.
Uh, so, Colton is brought to Daka. There's a quick scene there with that. Then we cut to the lab, and Bruce finds, and again, through his lab equipment, through chemical analysis and what have you, there's this mark on it from a Chinese laundry. So they're like, let's go there and investigate.
Wait.
Wait.
He goes, we'll go down there tonight. Not right at this moment, right? Okay, but so you say to yourself, oh, they're going there at night because they're going to go as Batman and Robin, right?
Yes.
But no, they go down there as Bruce and Dick.
At night.
Why did they wait until night? He says, we'll go down there tonight.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's obviously that because it's the daytime when he says that. It's like, if you're going to go down there as Bruce and Dick, go down there right away.
Yeah.
What are you waiting for?
True.
We'll go down there tonight. Like this, somebody has been kidnapped, an ally who might be in danger. His life might be in danger. And you're superheroes. You're Batman and Robin. So no, you wait and you go down there, but not as your superhero identities, as just plain old Bruce and Dick.
But that happens a lot in this thing. It's like, and then of course it's that awkward, let's change into our outfits and stuff and that. And they whenever they even start, I mean, we don't see them completely undressing and stuff, but when you start to see them undress, it looks long and complicated.
It does. Well, that's the beauty of comics, is that it's just quick. You just wear that stuff under your clothes, a full cape, and the boots and the gloves and everything. It's just under your street clothes. It's no big deal, It's like in the comic books when they used to have rubber face masks over, of a person you're being disguised as over your full cowl and mask, and it looks completely realistic, and then you rip off the rubber mask, But yeah, it is. It's like, it's another thing is the people who made this are not familiar with the tropes and the cliches and everything else.
Yeah, but what I love is, and we're going to talk about the whole scene at the laundry and such, but first there's this great scene with Colton and Daka prior to that gives me a payoff I've been waiting 7 episodes for.
Yes, I already know what you're talking about, and because I wrote it down too. I'm thumping the desk here, and I'm jumping up and down. Go ahead.
Because Colton, is being stubborn with Daka. He's not going to work with him and such. Daka brings in Warren to show Colton what will happen to him if he doesn't work with him. And, Colton, of course, knows Warren. We've had that established earlier on. Colton gets the drop on Daka with his gun.
I love it.
Yeah, I love it.
Again, it's like, this should be the adventures of Colton.
Yes. And he's
now there's a real man.
There's a real man. Yeah. Yeah. He's backing out of the room there and out into the area where the ride is and such. And he is immediately knocked out by our caveman, who we've been waiting now 7 episodes to do something other than looking ominous.
Do you know what my notes say?
What's that?
Caveman finally pays off. Oh my goodness! I want an action figure of that that faux Japanese caveman, whatever he's supposed to be. There should be like a lobby card.
Right?
Colton attacked by caveman.
Yeah, could you imagine that? Like, you're a kid coming in for the 7th episode. I mean, you're there for the movie. There's a cartoon, and of course, there's the Batman short and everything. And then you look up at the lobby card there, and it's like, and you're like getting all excited, going, "The caveman!"
I can guarantee that no child in 1943 thought twice about that caveman. And if they did, I want to hear from them. Okay, you're roughly probably close to 80 now or so, and. It makes me wonder if my dad went to see this serial, because my dad talked, my whole life. He always talked to me about different serials, and he always said he liked the Zorro one, but he never mentioned Batman one. But I can't imagine that he didn't go and see this one. I'll have to ask him if he remembers that at all. Just that he went to it, not that he would remember what went on in the serial.
I tell you, if you ever, if he does remember what goes on in the serial, get your phone there and start recording some of it there.
Yeah.
'Cause
Yeah,
that would make for some great stuff.
I can remember the Zorro specifically, that he said that he enjoyed that. What other ones he might have seen, I don't know, but he had Batman comics and everything else at this time. So I'm sure he probably went to see this one.
It's fun. I'm just thinking about the whole thing now because I'm looking at my notes here with the laundry, the next scene and stuff. And I'm wondering if like sometimes Bruce and Dick and their attitude with Batman and Robin is we only become Batman and Robin when it's absolutely necessary. Kind of like, you don't call upon the Power Rangers powers, or Shazam doesn't, Captain Marvel doesn't say Shazam unless it's absolutely necessary. Like you've exhausted all other options or something. Because
that's like,
why?
Yeah, that's a really good point, and saying that about the Shazam show from Saturday morning, you're absolutely right. Good friend of mine, we used to talk about this all the time about all these shows. Is that all you would do is sit there as a kid and you just come on, get to the superhero part,
right?
And they would drag it out. The Hulk, the Incredible Hulk show, it's like drag it out. And I think a lot of times it got down to I don't know, special effects budget. I'm kind of making this up. I'm spitballing as I go along, but it's like, why would you wait? Become Batman and Robin. Here all these years later, we can say it's because Batman and Robin are not very effectual. They don't have seem to make much impact on anything, but. I don't know if it's the actors saying, we don't want to be in those dumb costumes that much. We know that Adam West was very pleased when he got to do more as Bruce Wayne, like in the feature, film, that, he'd be out of costume. His features are not, hidden behind a mask.
Right.
Yeah, I don't get it. It's this whole thing about let's go down there tonight, but as Bruce and Dick, save some time. Just change, at the Batcave into Batman and Robin and go over there. You're on the trail of something. Did they think that maybe they were, there was a chance that they could be wrong, and then they have changed into Batman and Robin for no reason? I don't get it.
I don't get it either. It would be really interesting. Maybe when we're done with this, I'll just, and it's just a matter of a quick, scan through each episode, but just to see how much screen time Bruce gets compared to Batman.
Yeah, sure.
Because the ratio is definitely different in the 66 series.
Yeah, and I get it, and I often wonder about that today in all the superhero movies and things like that. When one of these actors chooses to be in that, and it's a masked character, are there negotiations about how much they have to have the mask on? And everybody laughs today because in the Spider-Man films, he's got a full head mask. You can be guaranteed he's going to rip that mask off how many times throughout the movie.
Right.
I don't know if they have it in their contracts that their face has to be shown, so many times in these productions. And maybe it has roots all the way back in 1943 with this.
Maybe. That makes it more interesting than when you think about the Justice League movie, because I think Ben Affleck was Batman more in that than he was Bruce Wayne.
Wow. Well,
I think so.
If that's true, then I love to hear that, because that means the actor is not so into himself as far as being seen as himself on screen, that they're more into the character.
Right.
I'm going to hope that Ben Affleck loved playing Batman so much and loved being in the costume, that's how it came out to be.
Right. And hopefully with the new Batman movie, we can see that as well.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I'd be curious to know. I feel like in the Christian Bale movies, he has a significant amount of time in the costume.
Is he? I have not seen the third one, and my understanding was he barely is in the costume in the third one.
Oh boy, it's been so long since I think I've only seen it like once all the way through. Yeah, that's a good question. I don't know. My memory is that here my memory is this. I got enough Batman to satisfy me.
Okay.
And that's here. I'm going to connect back to what we're watching now. That's one of my beefs with this is I'm not getting enough Batman to satisfy my Batman cravings. You'll pardon all of where I'm going with this, but that's what it is. And as goofy as the Batman costume is, and leaves a lot to be desired, it does. It's like that's what I want.
Right.
I want superheroes in 3 dimensions on screen, running around doing superhero stuff. Right. That's what I want.
Well, you get it in spades once they decide to change into the costume.
Yeah. Yes.
Here, as we're coming to the end of the thing, they arrive at the Nakina Laundry, where they see that 4 of Daka's men are also there. That's why they decide to go change. The men are there to go get why there are supplies needed for Colton's mine and a laundry. I don't know, but okay, we're here for that. So the dynamic.
Wait, is it a Chinese laundry?
Chinese, yeah.
Yeah, isn't that funny? It's a Chinese laundry, but this whole thing has been about the Japanese.
Right. And I don't know how Chinese Nakina is as a name.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah,
I don't know either.
Yeah.
All I know is it's a rotten stereotype.
Yeah.
There's got to be other kinds of laundries other than Chinese laundries.
Chinese laundry, yeah. we get a back climb because they go up the side of the building to the roof.
Yeah.
Yep. Because they figure they'll get in that way as the men are taking the stairs up to get to the supplies. And I do like the fact that when they get up there, they see the men. They jump in via the skylight and a bat fight breaks out.
Yep, but we know where this is going.
Well, we know where this is going, but I will say for a while there, it seems like they're doing better until one of them sees he can lure Batman towards the elevator shaft.
Yeah. There's something about that Batman is very easy to pick up and throw over things.
Yes.
I'm going all the way back to the beginning when he's thrown off the side of the building, but I'm going to go on record here, and I have it in my notes. Elevator trap is good. I think it's actually a good, sequence, a good trap.
It's a good trap. I will say they kind of tip their hand a little, though, because we do see Batman like moving slightly as we come to the end of the episode. So it's like, okay, he's not dead. So there, if he does get up suddenly, it's not one of those, oh, come on. I mean, it is, but it isn't, because it's like, all right, he didn't just suddenly revive.
Yes, I agree.
Yeah.
That ought to finish him. Well, if that doesn't, this will.
Now, did you also notice something else, too? The announcer is different at the end of this episode.
Yes, and you know what? I feel like I read that somewhere. But yes, why do I feel like I might be completely wrong? Did I read somewhere that the announcer is Gale Gordon?
Oh. I'd have to look that one up myself.
Wow,
I can definitely hear a young Gale Gordon in that. It's very possible.
He was such a prolific radio actor, very prolific, that I wouldn't be surprised if he was doing voiceovers for films at this time too. I might be completely wrong on that. I swear that I read something about there's something where out of the blue, for no reason and just once, Gale Gordon steps in as the the announcer, and then it goes back to the regular guy or something like that. But something to look into.
Yeah, no, definitely. I'll take a look into it there. So we're coming to the end here. Overall, though, I really enjoyed this one for the highlights of Batman doing the detecting and such.
Yes.
And like you say, Colton, who, this story's going to continue on into the next episode, because in the next episode, we go into the mountains. We go to the mine.
Yeah. So here you go. I mean, the highlights: detective work, again, a lot of Colton, a really good Daka scene, with the payoff with the caveman. And then the death trap at the end is, I think, a very good one. So yeah, when you take out all of my kvetching and moaning, then yeah, actually there's several things to speak for this episode.
Yes.
Chapter.
Yep. I definitely agree. I definitely agree. Now, before we leave, it's been a little while since you and I have talked. How are things going with the Batman book that we did an episode about, our collection of essays? Well, your collection of essays, I just contributed to it.
I'm laughing because this has been a long road to that. But in my defense, there's
been a lot.
There's been mitigating circumstances.
Absolutely. But I remember seeing a post recently in the last couple of weeks saying you were working on it. So
I did. Yeah. We're very close to the end of doing the edits on all the essays. And what that leaves is I have to actually write my own essay, which I was always going to do at the once I got through everybody else's.
Right.
Anyways, because I have to see what sort of level I have to rise to make myself look better than everybody else. But so yeah, after that, then it's basically writing my introduction. Talking to a formatter right now. The cover is done. I have high hopes again. I'm starting to get back into the swing of the production of the book. And I had the exciting news that there will be a BatCon 4 in Logansport, Indiana. And that's going to be in September. And, there I have another target to aim at now, that to have it done so that I can have it there for BatCon. And it's funny, somebody else who is not in the book who would like to be in the second volume was asking me, like, this is supposed to be 3 books altogether, right? And I had to laugh and say, in theory. I said, although this first one, it might be just a done in one. It might just be about the first season of the show, and that's it. But yeah, it's like I keep telling everybody, I got to get this one done. Let's not worry about the other ones right now. It's like I got to get this one done.
Right.
But it will be at some point, because everybody needs to read these essays. They're very fun.
Yeah, no, I agree. And there's some great artwork, including some by our friend Robert Long.
Oh yes, yeah, and that's the other. I haven't done a book like this where there's artwork for each essay and chapter.
Very cool.
Mm-hmm.
Now, and as far as people want to get a hold of you, talk to you more about Batman and Batman 66 in particular.
Yeah, we have a Facebook page for Gotham City 14 Miles. Just put in Gotham City 14 Miles and Facebook page for that. And then there's the Jim Beard fan page on Facebook, and go there. You go to Amazon and put in my name, and you'll see my author page there if you want to order a copy of Gotham City 14 Miles or get it as an ebook. And then on Twitter, I'm at writer Jim Beard, all one word, writer Jim Beard, and you can contact me too there. Love to hear from people, especially about this podcast. We're getting some good hits from what I understand from you.
Yeah, the downloads are great, and it's funny. The show itself is starting to get more listens on YouTube, because I hooked this thing up that when I upload it to Libsyn, which is the service I do, it sends out, to iTunes and stuff, and iTunes and Stitcher and all them grab from Libsyn, and that's where most of my numbers are from. But I also had it that it creates a file and a thing on YouTube, so you can watch it there. There's some people who don't get the concept, so they're disappointed, so they'll come for like Batman, 1943 serial episode 7, and they just click on it and they don't read the description, and they're like, there's no pictures, except for the one image I use just for the thing. But there are people who are starting to listen to the podcast, and numbers are starting to build up there, which is surprising me, because I thought, okay, this will be just a little supplemental thing. In particular, in fact, thank you for reminding me. I just want to give a quick shout out. I'm forgetting her numbers, but she's on YouTube. Her name is Toon Girl, a young woman who has come to appreciate some of the things we've talked about, and we've kind of steered her towards certain things, including watching Electra Woman and Dyna Girl, thanks to our...
fantastic.
Yeah.
Well, am I not correct in this? We're not really getting comments, are we? Or if we are, I thought aware of them.
As far as for this, I need to go back to the YouTube page and sort of scroll through. Interestingly enough, and you'll get a kick out of this, Jim, YouTube shut down episode 4, though, for copyright infringement with the audio footage I used. Meanwhile, I'm like thinking, yeah, but episodes 1, 2, 3, and 5 are up there.
Oh, how odd.
Yeah.
Well, okay. Well, then you know what? We're halfway through this serial. Then I want to put that out there to anybody who's listening right now. We want your comments. About the chapters, about what we're talking about here. I've said this how many times about so many different things. Is these things that we do shouldn't be done in a vacuum. We really want to hear from people, and whether you're commenting on YouTube, you're commenting on Twitter, you're commenting on Facebook. Give us your thoughts. Are we right on with what we're saying? Are we just totally stupid idiots? I want to hear it. Do we sound like we're drunk? We've heard that before.
We've heard that one before.
Yeah, but if that's true, then lay it on us. But again, come on, true believers. We want to hear from you.
Exactly. And you can do that, folks. Very simple. The Batcave Podcast at gmail.com, or you can comment right there on YouTube, iTunes, Facebook. When I post the episode, we have the Batcave Facebook page. If you're not liking or at least following the page, which is all right. It's a little pet peeve of mine. I'll take a split second here. I love people who come on, like something, and they're not like in the community as liking the page or at least following the page. My favorite is there's this one woman who will come by every couple of weeks and like every single picture on the Batcave Podcast page on Facebook, but she's not liked the page itself. She doesn't follow it, but she comes by and likes, and then I get like 25 notifications. Like, what are you doing? You're killing me.
Okay, well then shout out to that lady if she's listening now. We want to hear from you.
Yes,
Tell
we
us
want to
who
hear
you
from
are.
you.
Yeah. Good deal.
So, okay, that's going to do it for this episode of the Batcave Podcast. As this time it's my turn to be the curmudgeon. Tune in next time, folks. We'll be continuing our looks at the Batman comics, Electra Woman and Dyna Girl, Monster Squad. Robert Long and I will be back with another movie for the Some Days You Just Can't Get Rid of a Bomb series. And, of course, Jim and I will be back with episode 8 of Batman very soon. Until then, folks, thank you so much for listening. Once again, Jim, citizens, take care, everybody.
See ya.
Daka has Colton in his zombie chair. Will he force him to give up the radium mine? And there are Linda and Alfred in Colton's cabin. What's going on there? Don't fail to see Lured by Radium, Chapter 8 of Batman, at this theater next week.